Welcome, everybody. Boy, I have the ultimate pleasure today. I have got my friend Kai Vidal, who's a naturopathic practitioner from Queensland, Australia, and she changes people's lives, you guys. And you're going to want to stay till the end because we're going to give you some really cool tips. Actually, Kai's going to give you some really cool tips on how you can take advantage of a hidden secret to help your body release weight. So both Kai and I have worked with people helping release weight, and I think we've come to a similar conclusion around that. And that one is that everybody's unique, and Kai's going to talk a little bit about how this is just such an individualized journey, and there's so many layers that need to be addressed. And often it's not even about the weight loss, it's something else entirely. Is that right, Kai?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this topic. Thank you, Linda. I love partnering in a multimodality setting as well, like with doctors and naturopaths. And what's important, and especially with partnerships, is that doctors and naturopaths work together in a holistic manner. So perfect. Thank you. I love this.
I love it. Well, tell us a little bit about your story. How did you come to be a naturopathic physician, and how did you come to get interested in this particular issue for people?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. I became a naturopath myself in my early 20s. I had some minor health issues with food intolerances, and I went to the medical fraternity and had all sorts of testing, and no one found answers. I'd worked in aromatherapy myself. I had the pleasure of doing that when I was 16. So,
oh, wow, started young.
Yeah, so I started really young. And through the essential oils, I found that I was able to calm my mind more so. And from reading about peppermint tea soothed my stomach. So I knew that there was more. Yeah, I know.
Right.
So it just started with something simple. And from that, I discovered that the foods we're eating. So I was doing research and, way back yonder. So we're talking, 24 years ago.
Were you in the card catalog? So you were like in the card catalog back then, right?
Yeah, exactly. There wasn't we didn't have the internet. We didn't have Wikipedia. So researching was quite difficult. It was trips to the library and I found a nutrition section right in the city, and I live far away. So I just decided to start studying myself. So that was my journey. So the journey, and they always say that your first client and your best client is yourself.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah. So I found amazing results and figured out what triggered my immune system. And naturally, through me studying, I'd healed myself. I found ways to manage all of the symptoms, and that I lived a normal day every day, happy and healthy every day.
That, when you have gut troubles and every time you eat, you're expecting something might happen, it's almost like you begin to live in fear a little bit. Like, what's going to trigger me now,
Absolutely. That was so true. I was always avoiding having to trigger my system to purge. So I was trying to prevent a purge when I was out because it's just inconvenient and feeling that burn in the belly. So yeah. So managing the symptoms was really important to me, not just mentally, but even physically. I didn't want the physical reactions. So, every human, whether it's emotional or physical, will move away from pain towards pleasure.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So true. And then sometimes we, unfortunately, those foods, many of them that'll give us an instantaneous dopamine surge, like, sugar, those long-term, take us away from happiness, even though we often will use things like that to soothe ourselves because it affects our chemicals, our chemistry. So I know that you use nutrition as a tool to help people get better, and you use multiple modalities. I know. Tell me a little bit about your approach when you meet somebody what's happening? I know how I kind of manage them, but I'd love to hear what you do.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the whole entire system. We're looking at the emotional body, the physical body, and also the lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, that's environment. It's our daily habits. It's everything part and parcel. So we're doing a questionnaire of what's happening emotionally, what state are we in currently. And what we're doing is moving from where we are now to where we want to be in the future. And on an individual basis too, everybody is different. To share with you, when I was pregnant, I had a thyroid disorder, just because I have a blood type incapability with my beautiful girl, and I'm grateful for it too. And when you get to the point in life where you're grateful for challenges, that's a new emotional level and a barrier that we've worked through. And even though I have underactive thyroid, I still maintain my weight.
Yeah. Oh, that's, I know so many people who want to know the secret to that, right? When your thyroid is low, you're hypothyroid or underactive, how can you maintain your weight? Because your metabolism is a little lower. So that's amazing that you've been able to do that naturally. And I know it gives people hope to hear that. So,
yeah.
so you've helped manage your thyroid naturally, and identifying food triggers. That's everybody. The identification of food triggers, because food can be a slow poison or it can be medicine, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so stopping those things that trigger you. Do you use any, how do you test for food incompatibilities? Do you use an elimination diet, or what styles do you use to identify?
Yeah, usually elimination. In Australia, in definitely Queensland, there's testing available that is quite affordable too. So that depends on countries. I work on the internet, so I don't have to. I'm not. Yeah,
That's so cool. So you can take care of people everywhere. That's awesome.
Everywhere.
Oh
Exactly.
my gosh. Well, and so are you doing like IgA testing for that? Or
yeah, it just depends on the region. Some regions it's affordable, some is not. So if it's not affordable, we definitely do a food diary. And also what we're doing is sometimes we even have to go back to real basics, like sort of introduce food like you would to a baby or a child again. And when we drip feed food as medicine, what we notice is that certain foods we feel fine. And when you introduce certain foods, that's when a reaction may come in. And even there's downfalls to IgG testing. There's a mean in the middle. And sometimes that because they haven't tested the whole population, one person may not test within a mean structure and it may be subclinical. And even subclinical testing, no matter where it is or what we're testing for, will be different. It could be different if you live in the same state. It depends on who's doing the tests, what companies are doing the tests. Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, I think that my experience is that sometimes I'll have people who are only eating like 3 foods and they test like way positive. We're talking about antibodies that are triggered by different foods, right? So, and so on this testing, they'll just be down to like a few foods, and because that's the only thing they're eating, and their gut's not healed, they'll test very high. And so I feel like that's sort of a sign that the whole gut needs help, right? Yeah,
exactly.
so that's great. And I think I like the elimination diet because it's inexpensive. People can take, and guys, what we'll do is below this, I haven't put it in there yet, but we'll put a handout about how you could do an elimination diet, something you can try at home. But really, if that doesn't work, then someone like Dr. Kai or Kai can really help you tease that out. And bringing that into the world of like helping people release weight. Talk a little bit about how food can help people with weight release. What are we thinking about?
Yeah, definitely. As we've said, one man's poison is another man's medicine. And there's with naturopathic medicine and nutrition, there's always the saying, let food be thy medicine. There is, beautiful healing foods. And we like quite commonly referred to as superfoods. We've all heard of superfoods in the media. With the system as well, our bodies all have the unique ability to heal ourselves. Everyone. So it's when we're monitoring a diet, it's not just seeing what's happening in one day, it's seeing what a reaction is over the course of a week or two or even a month as well. So sometimes it's a small build-up over time. It might not be an immediate factor. So there's always good to have a second or third set of eyes to go over the top. And when we're looking at a diet, is not just looking at what's happening physically, it's emotionally as well. Like, as we said, foods trigger emotions, and emotions can trigger the nervous system. So yeah. So what I'm finding with most of my clients is that when we're treating the whole system, so definitely treating the digestive system, but also looking at the nervous and endocrine systems, and in combination, and our elimination systems, like we could have a perfectly functioning digestive system, but if we're not eliminating properly, that's when toxins are re-entering the bloodstream.
Right. So you've got to get the gut going. Got to get that gut. And then I love the idea around emotions, just because, Kai and I know that when people have big emotions and their stress level is high, that really can prevent weight release. Has that been your experience?
Definitely. So, and when we're talking about emotions, we're even going back to our teenage years, our school lives, conditioning that we've heard from generations, and having a different twist on things, and a different new fresh viewpoints, and building up to how we want to perceive. And sometimes we can't see little habits we're doing in there emotionally as well. Also, a really important tip for everyone to learn is that if we're shaming ourselves in any form or manner, like, if we're reaching for the ice cream to make ourselves, boost ourselves, and it could be with any food, like, and it might not be your sugar type foods, it could be overeating, it might be fast eating, it could be any form of shame that we apply to ourselves or to food or to eating. That's having a negative impact immediately, because our vagus nerve is connected from our brain straight to the digestive system.
So beautiful. Yeah.
The important part for everyone to realize, and to jump on a chat with either you or myself if this is an issue, is to be breaking down any sort of shame. So if we eat something, just say we have a Christmas day and we've enjoyed it and we've loved it, without shame, there's no issues. The body's digesting. We're not interrupting the digestive system.
I love that. So what we want to do then is listen to our self-talk. We're trying to consume food deliberately, and might we be like reframing our self-talk if we catch ourselves going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing it again, right? If we're doing that self-shaming, how might I, is there some sort of exercise that you might suggest to help me reframe what I'm thinking?
Yes, perfect question. I love it. The reframe, and we can do this in any aspect of our life. So it doesn't have to apply for food. It could be that we're rushing in the mornings. Now, a reframe helps us to get us from, and how we language, what we language is what we receive in general. So when we're languaging,
Wait, say that one more time.
yeah,
'Cause that was so powerful.
what we're languaging is what we receive.
All right. So it's important, guys, that we focus on that self-talk and to others, right? What you're giving out to yourself and to others, because what we give out is what comes back in general. And part of it's what we give ourselves. Okay, I love that. Okay.
Yeah. So an example, just so it's really clear, is that for Christmas, I'm eating, I'm enjoying, and saying, I am loving my time right now. I'm going to enjoy my dessert today. I am rewarding myself, and I'm going to enjoy every bit, entered consciously. And I love you, and I thank you, and we're going to have a fabulous celebration. And that goes with birthday cakes and things like that. That goes with everything, even if we've been told as children, you know, if you eat that's not a good food, or, you know, it's releasing good or bad foods. There's no such thing as good or bad. It's just what's suited for our systems. Yes. So we're putting the focus on, this is great for my system.
Yeah. And what makes me feel good, right? I think it's so important, and no one can be perfect. It's funny. There's a healer that I listen to, and he's clearly very, very good with his diet. He's like, yeah, you could be perfect. I'm like, no, I can't be perfect. I don't think anybody can really be perfect. And so when we're going to make the deliberate choices, what I found is, as I've moved forward in my nutrition journey, you know, coming from feeding my kids chicken nuggets, honestly, I did, and fast food when they were little. I'm not going to shame myself though, right? Because I just didn't know better. But I've grown, so now my treats are a little healthier, right? Healthier and healthier. And from you, I really get this message powerful, strong, that when I choose to have something that's delicious and exciting, I'm going to enjoy every bite, and I'm going to be happy in that moment doing that. So thank you.
Yeah. And you raised a very good point, which I love, and you said, I'm not going to shame myself, and saying, instead, this is a beautiful reframe, and saying, I've always done the best with what I've known. Yes. I've always done the best with what I've had available to myself.
Right.
I am doing the best for what's available to me now.
Right. I'm doing the best thing I know right now. And that's really, you know, everybody is doing the best they can in the moment. I believe that strongly.
Yeah.
And we're trying to give you guys extra so that you can do the best right now and do a little better tomorrow, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then that leads to the second point with nutrition. What is the best thing we could be doing right now? So, for example, even yogurts in the morning. Most commercial yogurts have so much sugar that if you added an extra teaspoon, it would be classified as a confectionery.
A dessert, right?
Yeah. So, in effect, it's sloppy sugar. It's most commercial yogurts. Now, what I love about our evolution as people now, like even in Australia, there's so many good yogurts available and at markets, and coconut yogurts and plant yogurts and all sorts of things, and the sugar has really been cut down. So even swapping and slowly changing, even if you had to get used to it, a 50-50 mix, that's better than what we did yesterday.
That is such a great idea. So those of you who love that sweetened yogurt, you can start off by just mixing it with some plain. And, you know, that's brilliant. What a beautiful idea. Yeah. So there are ways that you can gradually move in the direction you go. And you know, when you were talking about trauma, right? Or emotions. Yeah, I've even been in courses with a whole bunch of docs talking about how sometimes there's generational trauma, right? Our great, and it can get handed down, and probably through methylation, such that still affects us. And I've seen people heal by talking through their generational trauma, like what's happened in their family.
Yeah, a
Good
big
point.
point. One of my questions that I quite often ask when I'm hearing people and they'll be telling me about their childhoods or what they ate, and I'll say, what do you eat now? And what did you eat as a teenager? What did you eat as a child? And they'll go, grandparents that went through wars had very little. So scarcity was a big thing, and saving and not spending money and putting shame, actually attaching shame. And we can even see our grandparents, like if they're hoarding, if they were saving things, like even I'll see a lot of grandparents, you're not allowed to use the good china or the good crockery or the good knives and forks. That's saved in the cupboard, but for what? And this messaging is buried very deep within. And I'll say to people, why is that? Tell me more. I'd love to know more about that. And the common answer is, I don't know. And when we're saying, I don't know in languaging, that's beautiful, because we're about to come through our biggest breakthroughs in life.
Right.
That's where, so if we're even saying, I don't know, that's a perfect time to jump in a conversation, because someone else is great at unpacking it for you.
Yeah.
And just pointing you to the direction. So this is what we're talking about, generational. And sometimes there's some strange things, even my own family. Like I'd say to my grandparents who grew up in the war, and I was like, why do you do that? Like I'd seen my grandma shop once, and apples were on special at a supermarket. So she bought them. And then on her way out, she saw bags of and we're not talking a kilo. She'd be buying things 5 kilos, 10 kilos bulk. Yeah. And then on her way out, she went past the fruit shop and bought a second bag. And at home, she's trying to feed us apples, like,
Oh man,
there's apples at breakfast, apples as snack, apples as dessert. So she's making all these desserts. And I said, why did you do that? And she actually had an emotional release. And this is where, I know. So this is where I didn't realize how much of the trauma had affected her through being through the war.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. Well, and she's unknowingly passing it on, like through love. Like, so her love is trying to teach us, to prepare us to live through a war. And that's from a place of love. However, we can all now, there's better ways of moving through.
Right. I remember we had always had enough food. We had modest means growing up. And I remember when I went to college and there was an unlimited amount of food, I just remember that it was so great. I just could, eat lots of food. And then in medical school, when you're sort of a, medical student, you're living on borrowed money and stuff. There's not a lot of money. And anytime there was free food or pizza. And so now pizza is a big trigger for me. I'm like, I want to eat a lot of
the whole pizza.
I really want to. Oh, and it's been, I think, the hardest food of all for me to release, because of that. It's associated with, like, when suddenly there'd be a lot of food in college and medical school, and also comfort, and it has that special. So that's been my hardest thing, I think. And I'm still working through, I'll occasionally have pizza. And anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I love these stories are really helpful because it raises awareness. Yeah. And there's so many questions. There's so many questions to that. So pizza to you is an indulgence. Pizza has now been related to you as a treat. Like, so, and what's happening is all your positive endorphins are released. So you see pizza and it's like party.
Emotion. And I think we're getting to the secret that no one told you guys about weight loss, right? Because what you're talking about right there, I think that's, you want to speak a little bit to the secrets, how to help people with weight release.
Yeah, exactly. So weight release isn't about a diet. So it's absolutely not about going on a strict diet. Most of my clients that I've seen over the 2 decades of working is they've lost weight as a result of eating healthy, just changing their diet and optimizing their body system. So their liver's functioning properly, their bowels are functioning properly, their digestive system is at its optimal peak, their mind, body, and spirit is all in alignment, and they're feeling healthy and happy, and the weight disappears. So
it naturally.
Yeah, diets actually, like keto, for example, was designed for people with epilepsy to reduce seizures, and it works beautifully. But keto is not suited for people that have high cholesterol or atherosclerosis and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Well, I think the big point there is that it's not a diet that will help you release. That's not really the answer, even though it might give you a short-term weight loss, right?
Yeah, it's short-term. So what we're looking at is setting up our beautiful lifestyles on a day. So setting up our ideal day on how we want to live, how we want to feel. And even with exercise, like you could go to the gym and work out 24/7. You might build muscle, you might look slim, but putting the same foods that might not be medicine in the system, that's eventually going to lead to the body to have a short breakdown, things like that.
It's going to catch up to you for sure.
Yeah. So I even say with exercise, if you love the gym and you passionately enjoy it, do it every day. But if you love being out and about and exercising and being out in nature and kayaking and running or playing competitive sports, do what you love.
Do what you love for sure. And it's in my practice, I've found a couple additional things. And one is that we have to bring the breath in there. We have to start to manage our stress really intentionally, because whether it's through meditation or breath work, we bring our cortisol down. That is also going to help you release weight, you guys. And the other thing is to understand that as we move into our new selves, I think it's great to create an image of what you're doing, where like she's talked about at the very beginning, Kai mentioned, like having that vision of where you're going, right?
Yeah.
You're calm, you're happy, you're surrounded by friends. So keeping that present, and then knowing what are the things we're going to gradually do to get there, and also I think seeing where our stumbling blocks will be, predicting the obstacles. Like, I know if a pizza is in front of me, that's an obstacle for me. And what am I going to do? How am I going to manage it? Because honestly, I'd rather not have the pizza. So do you help people strategize with, like, I know that this is a thing for me. How do I get through the thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how you said there's stumbling blocks along the way, and how I always see people is imagine what we'll do is little exercises with pizza, that we're actually looking at it at a different light. So I could put a pizza in front of you and you'd actually start to giggle. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right.
And you giggle and you build a different relationship. And we can do this with anything.
Drop the mic. I'm so excited. I want to giggle. I don't want to feel. I want to heal my pizza thing, right? So it's about healing, really.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it is mind over matter, and recognizing it and looking at it when the feeling comes up. What are we feeling? And asking ourselves, in our lives, we've been conditioned to not be connected to our feelings. So being really connected and saying, what is that feeling that's coming up right now? What is that feeling? So yours is actually party.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yours
is.
See, that's
it totally is. It's all birthdays.
Wealth and abundance.
It's my 17th birthday party at the pizza place. It really is.
Yeah. So being aware and even having this conversation, you'll look at pizza and say, right, I'm at the party. Do I need the pizza to partake in the party? I'm already there.
That is so powerful. I'm going to report back to you on how it goes the next time I pizza. But this is
definitely to take it to the next level. And we can, anytime we want, we can reset our endocrine and nervous system at a drop of a hat. 9 minutes is all you need. And
Oh,
I do
go on. Tell me more.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a breathing technique, rectangular breathing. And if you're confused, what we'll do is we'll record one so people can download this. Yeah, I'll definitely be recording one for everyone just to share and to use. And that's for free. Now, what we do is get ourselves, and this can be done anywhere. Even if you say to yourself, I cannot meditate, which I would do a reframe around that, saying, I'm opening myself to new possibilities. Now, even when we're opening ourselves to new possibilities, our rectangular breathing is easy because we're counting. We're not relying on ourselves being calm. So I could do this in the middle of a highway somewhere, and it doesn't matter about the noise going on, or I could do it at a circus or a party, and I just sit down, and you don't even need to look like you're at the Buddha's.
Nobody knows what you're doing, you guys. This is so great. This is reset your hormones, right?
Yep. So all we're doing, 9 minutes, we're rectangular breathing. We're breathing in for 4, holding for 6, exhaling for 4, holding for 6. So it's in, hold, exhale, hold. And that we do that on repeat for 9 minutes. And that is a total endocrine and hormonal system, nervous system reset.
That is very valuable, Kai.
Yeah.
You've given us some wonderful tools. I mean, I feel like you've helped me with my pizza issue, right? Just this house. Yeah. You guys see how amazing Kai is. Well, let's see. I guess we have a few minutes left. Is there anything else that would be important for people to know about working with you, or anything, details that you'd like
to give people a head start? And one of the most important topics in it is what quality of foods are we using. So in a supermarket, for example, not everyone has the availability to go to a market, and there's busy lifestyles. Markets are best. Fresh is best. The fresher, the better. And these are just simple things. We know them. And if there's a blockage there, is asking, what is the blockage? So now with our supermarket, what I recommend to people is shopping from the outside. So you've got your fruit and veggie section, and, your good quality, free range eggs and meats and things like that. The better the quality, the better for you. Now, everything through the middle, generally, like your pulses and beans and things like that, they're fabulous. They're found on shelves, with the exception of, our natural foods. Most things on shelves in the supermarket, our bodies are not used to yet. They've only been there for the last 60 years, like your food colours, flavors, additives, preservatives. Best to avoid as much as possible. So even I read labels. There's certain, and this goes back to the start of my journey, what I figured is there was certain food chemicals that my body reacts to, understandably as well. They've only been in use for the last 50, 60 years. Processed food has only been around for the last 60 years. So our return to a more natural diet is what's really going to help everyone as well. So that's a huge, so even making little changes now and starting with, our food diaries and our relaxing our system, coming with questions, like saying, mine's pizza, or, when I'm tired, I really love this. I keep on returning to sugar. Like, there's sugar cravings that can be turned around with some nutrients quite easily too. So, and magnesium is naturally found. All of our vitamins and minerals are naturally found in foods. So where we have deficiencies, there is high quality products that we can use. We don't always have to have even vitamins and minerals.
Yeah, if you get, so I tell people, usually they laugh at me, but I'm like, we're shooting for 6 to 9 cups of brightly colored, full rainbow veggies every day, right? And they're like, what? I eat a cup of veggies a day. That's my serving. So I tend to have people make kitchen sink salads where they toss everything in, their nuts, their seeds, fermented foods. I think that that's important. We mentioned this, We mentioned yogurt earlier. Kai did fermented foods for gut health and for emotional health, and to get everything rolling can be extremely helpful. Yeah, so I want to make sure that I pull together those important points that you've made. They're such great ones. As I recall, the first one was self-talk. We want to let go of shame, and we want to shift ourselves into possibility, right?
Yeah.
We want to identify what foods trigger us, both emotionally and physically, right?
Yep.
And then use somebody like Kai or myself to help you identify and then find substitutes that are satisfying for those things that trigger you. Natural is better, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about food, we're going around the outside of the grocery store. And in order to release weight, it is really more about a healthy, natural diet. In fact, most people that I see, I have to have them eat more. And they're like, are you sure? More food than they're eating now, more healthy food. And they're like, I can't eat all that food. I'm like, well, no, you can. And if you eat more food, it's healthy kind, you're going to be able to release weight. So it's not a diet. It's natural, healthy, low toxins, low extras, just real food on the outside of the grocery store. And then we want to reset ourselves, right? In one way we can. Emotionally, like to do the internal organ reset is with the beautiful rectangular breathing that you described, that amazing exercise. So you just have given us all this like wealth, gems. And I know anybody who gets to hear this interview is going to be like, heck yeah, I want to work with Kai. How can we reach you?
Via the website is the easiest way. So that's www.weightlossbalancing.com.
Okay.
Easiest way. You'll find me on social media. My name is fairly unique. There's not a lot of Kai Vidals. So, but the website is the most easiest way. And there's contact forms on there. It goes directly to my inbox. I even know when people have popped on my website, so I get notifications and things like that. So it's really easy. Yeah. And this is just the beginning. So we go really deep, and the program is run really fun. We have fun. And it's not hard work, and it's not strenuous. Like, it's light and it's fun. It's like doing an online retreat.
Oh, that sounds like fun to me. Well, I so appreciate your time. And those of you who are watching us on YouTube, go find Kai on social media. Follow her. She's got great tips that she puts out, and reach out to her. And you guys know how to find me because you're here at this website. You can always reach out to me. Below, I mentioned I was going to put the Elimination Diet, a handout from the Institute for Functional Medicine that you guys could try if you want to DIY. And then we told you how you can reset your like internal organs, like adrenal,
and that's reset. Stress, anxiety, food, and any emotions that we're feeling, and really connecting. So when we're connecting with ourselves, our body gives us warnings, and that's in our feelings. Yeah.
So important. And then feelings are meant, you guys, to be felt.
Yeah.
So in our society, we tend to suppress them. And sometimes if you just lean into it for a little bit, it moves like a river. Emotions are always changing. So using the rectangular breathing and just feeling your emotions can help you move on to the next emotion. So
so beautiful, isn't it?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time. We're going to say goodbye.
Thank you, Dr. Linda.
And
it's amazing.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.